I used to be a beat cop long time ago.
This isn't just about Mike's words. The visuals are telling you something too. The low lighting pulls you in, forcing you to focus on Mike's face, his expressions, his weight.
And I kneel him down and I put my revolver in his mouth.
This isn't a colorful, flashy scene because it's not supposed to be. It's raw, stark. The muted tones reflect the story Mike's telling. A story where there's no hero, just messy, brutal reality. Even the framing is intentional. The camera is up close, intimate, almost suffocating. Mike's face fills the screen because he's just not telling the story. He's reliving it. And we, as the audience, are right there with him.
Walking Tall, you don't remember?
And now look at the space around them. It's open, but it feels oppressive. It's like the weight of Mike is about to say feels that emptiness.
270, 280. But his wife, or whatever she was, lady.
The silence is deliberate too. No music, no distractions. Just Mike's voice and a story that keeps you on edge. This is a masterclass in minimalist storytelling. The brilliant Vince Gilligan strips everything down so you're laser focused on the character and the emotion. Now let's talk about the writing. This is one of the most finely crafted monologues in TV history. But why? It's the language, the structure, and the subtext. First, the metaphors. Mike doesn't just tell you what happened. He paints a picture. Gordy's sighs, his wife frailty, the humming of Danny Boy. These details aren't random. They're chosen to pull you deeper into the story. Then there's the rhythm. Mike's words are casual, almost conversational, but they're laced with tension.
Big boy. 270, 280. But his wife, or whatever she was, lady, was real small. Like a bird.
You see how that contrast lands? It makes you feel the imbalance of power, the unfairness of it all. Every line has a purpose, whether it's setting the scene or building the gut punch of the ending. And let's talk about the moral.
I chose a half measure when I should have gone all the way.
This is not just a line, it's the thesis of the entire scene, or maybe even the show. Mike's story isn't just a tale about Gordy and his wife, it's a warning to Walt. The half measure is a metaphor for hesitation, for not committing fully. And we see how devastating the consequences are.
Run.
What makes this even more brilliant is the subtext. On the surface, Mike's talking about Gordy. But underneath, he's talking about himself, about his regret, his failure to act decisively. And that regret fuels his decision-making now. This is layered writing. It's not just what Mike says, but what he doesn't say that makes it so impactful.
Of course.
And finally, let's talk about Jonathan Banks. This performance was flawless. But why? Because he doesn't perform it. He becomes Mike. Every gesture, every pause, every glance feels natural. It's subtle, restrained, but packed with emotion. Take his delivery. Banks doesn't overact. He doesn't try to sell you the drama with big movements or a raised voice. Instead, he lets the weight of the words do the work. His tone is steady, but it's full of pain and anger bubbling just under the surface. That's control. That's a seasoned actor who knows when to hold back. Even his body language is perfect. Watch how he barely moves. He's not trying to convince Walt with theatrics. He's speaking from a place of deep personal truth. The way he pauses mid-sentence, like he's lost in the memory, or the way his eyes narrow slightly when he says,
We got there was so much blood you could taste the metal.
That's lived in experience. You feel the weight of the story because Banks feels it. And of course, let's not forget the chemistry. Banks' delivery wouldn't work if Bryan Cranston weren't such a great scene partner. Cranston's reaction, the slight shifts in his expression, the tension in his body ground the scene, making it feel like a real, tense conversation. So what makes this scene almost perfect? It's the harmony of every element, the visuals, the writing, and the acting. This isn't just a scene in a TV show, it's a masterclass in storytelling. Breaking Bad didn't just entertain, it taught us how powerful cinema can be when every detail is given meaning.
No more half measures, Walter.